Alrighty, and we are live. Just gonna wait a bit. Of course, my streams have not been announced. Last week didn't actually get to stream, so just gonna kind of do something this week. Picked up something very quick. Gonna wait for some people to come in, and then we will actually start. As always, though, I will have the stream posted for those people that do miss the stream that don't get to see it. I'll have it posted live on the page on the YouTube page. Um, More China content and things like that. Actually, I have been filming a lot of content recently, just haven't got around to posting any content. But there is a lot of content being filmed, being done, and things like that. Sorry for people that expect content every week. We had a hurricane here. I'm in Florida. We had a hurricane here and some bad weather and things like that. So a lot of stuff has been filmed. It's just hasn't been put up. Pretty much the day that I was supposed to film didn't get put up either. So with that being said, we can already see what is posted over here. Every day, I pretty much wake up. I just go and I type in China, just into the Google box. You just type in China, right? And you kind of find out how the media, you know, really wants to steer the direction of conversation on China. And I kind of do the same thing. Um, I also go to places like Baidu. I go to places like NetEase and on the Chinese internet, and I will type in things like America just to kind of see, what they're putting out, because it's only fair to check both sides. And as of right now, as you can see right now, the talks are about China, wanting to mend ties with the U.S. Joe Biden, of course, wanting to go and be friends with China and things like that. Which without getting into American politics, I find quite funny, because China is supposed to be, according to the media, they're the enemy of America, right? And whomever president, whether they be right or left, but specifically if they're right, they should be shunned. You can't be an American president and be friends with China or North Korea, right? But as you can see, right now, Washington Post, New York Times, these people are they're pushing the Biden to be friends with China, which to me is pretty shocking, because Biden is supposed to be the guy that's supposed to be super hard on China, but that's really as of yet to really be found. I don't think Biden is hard on China at all. You hardly hear about China really at the moment, with a within regards to our political movement. Really, things happen, of course, but you don't really hear about the discussion of America and China as much as you did, of course, under Donald Trump. But that being said, regardless of who is the president, whether it be Trump or Biden or whomever it may be, the simple fact of the matter is that China and the West cannot be friends. Cannot. It will not work. I don't care really who the president is. Friendship between the West and China is just not something that is going to happen. Even coexisting is difficult, but to be friends is another story. The only way that China really becomes friends with, say, the West or America in this regard, of course, I'm American, so I will speak from the view of an American in that sense, is if the government changes. I think a lot of people, when they listen to Western media, or when they listen to media in general, the media is always so easy to speak of, you know, how easy it is for the West and China to be friends. They always act like, we just got to send somebody over there, and we just got to meet them. If we get Biden over there, to meet with Xi Jinping. It'll all be wonderful, and like that is such a it's such a difficult task that they're trying to make seem very easy. It's not going to happen. And I think it's funny that we continue to see these types of things every so often. As much as it's wishful thinking that China and America will be great friends, it's just not going to happen. You know, not to mention, for one, just from an economic standpoint, we're not allowed. We will never work on the same principles of economy. America believes in as much as possible of not valuing their currency, not changing the value of their currency, to try and separate government as much as possible from the economy. We have things in place like the Federal Reserve to to create a separation, and China is the opposite. We have a private public partnership in our country between companies and government. And when the government has to purchase something, when say like companies have to be bailed out by the government in America, it's really frowned upon, right? People are like, oh no, government, they're gonna own the automobile industry. That's horrible. When it happens in China, like it's something that is like, it's an expectation, right? It's more expected that the government is going to be controlling major industries in China than it is them to actually have their own privacy. And it creates this kind of friction where you have issues where people already don't trust the Chinese government. People don't trust them. And when they hear about the simple fact that companies, as an example, we had the big issue with TikTok and, people's privacy and where information is stored and kept. And we've had that information, with the information age that we're in right now, with Google and the firewall in China and all of those things, it's not even possible for us to be friends over the internet, right? We disagree so much over the way that the internet and information should be shared and saved and kept, that the idea that we're somehow going to become friends, to me, is hilarious. When you look at the way that, China supports Russia, and you think, well, it's a complete different type of situation now. America and the West has really settled down in the history of expansion, right? You had, of course, the UK. You've had Britain, you've had America. We've all had these expansionist times in our history, and that time is now for China. That's what they're trying to do now. They're at a different position in their country's lifetime where they're looking to expand. That is why Hong Kong to them is such a big deal. That is why trying to take Taiwan to them is such a big deal. America and the West has really changed in that regard. We've changed our ideas. We no longer are attempting to do those things. But China still is. China is very much expansional. They want to control more land. They want to not just control, but to take more land, right? To take more resources, by any means necessary. And to think that like this guy is going to go to China and he's going to somehow change that mentality, that thinking, that Joe Biden can go to China, that he can change that thinking of, oh, hey, you guys don't need to expand your land. You guys don't need to steal resources from other countries by putting them in debt. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. There's too many differences between the West, the way of thinking of economy, the way of thinking of expansionism, the way of thinking of the way that we treat our people, in the sense of we all know for a simple fact that when we use our cell phones, we know that someone is out there watching. We understand that, but we also realize that the people that are watching us, are watching for different reasons. You know, there's different reasons for watching. We realize that the people watching us may not be as bad as the people that are watching Chinese people. They may not be perfect. That's for sure. Let's be honest. But we realize that there are major differences there. And we realize that, as an example, with a social credit system, with cameras and things like that the ideas are different. We had talked about, with me and a friend, we had talked about how one of the stoplights here, well, not one of, but many of the stoplights here have cameras on them. And they said, wow, like you guys have cameras on your stoplights here too. But those are like cameras that they take photographs when you drive through the red light. They take one picture. Do they have cameras at busy intersections that record? Yes, but they're at intersections recording traffic. They're not recording people walking around. They're not recording all of the things that they're doing and talking about. It's different, right? It's even the way that we think about people's privacy in public is different. And to think again that Joe Biden is going to go and he's going to somehow create friendship between our countries, and the for whatever reason, again, the same people that are somehow acting as if this is possible are the same people that were just not too long ago shutting it and acting like it was a horrible idea, right? That's the other funny situation. And you'll see here that they talk about how there are competing visions of how people do things. They still want to act like it is even a possibility. Even a possibility, which is hilarious to me. Hilarious. And it's multiple. Here's the thing. It's multiple articles at once. China wants to mend ties with the US, but it won't make the first move. What does that even mean? What does that mean? Does China really want to mend ties with the US? Do they want to change the way that they do trade? Do they really want to, quit with sanctions and taxation and just be equal? Do they really want to do that? They don't want to do that. Does China really want to give up, going after Taiwan to mend relationships with the United States? They don't want to do that. Does China, do they want to quit with the Xinjiang situation to make friendship with the US? No, they don't, because there are so many things on so many levels that would always stop America from being friends with China that China would have to change. It's impossible. China will never change. They have, not only do they not just have, not really even communist government at this point, you really just have a king, a guy that runs and controls everything at this point, that has been singling out China, giving himself more and more and more power, and really pushing China closed again. I don't understand how they say that China wants to mend ties with the US. It's such poor writing, because it's like, are they not aware of what China is actually doing? Are they not aware that China is making it more and more difficult for foreigners to even live there, to work there, to be there? Are they unaware that China, just the recent thing with Hu Jintao, are they unaware of what is actually going on in China? Are they unaware about how right now in China, with the zero COVID policy, that they have no want for foreigners there. They don't want foreigners to be there. They you know what I mean? They don't want to mend ties with the US at all. You know, uh, the only way that it will ever be possible, and here's the thing, is if anyone is going to make the move to change, it has to be China. It has to be China. And the reason that it has to be China is because China is the odd man out. Now, countries in Europe, they do things differently than America, of course. Free different types of ways of running healthcare systems. Their political systems are different. But the one that's the most different is going to be China. The one that struggles to deal with the UK and Germany and these other countries, France and Italy, Spain, all these other countries in Europe. It's China. They're the ones that are different. You can't expect the rest of Europe and America and the UK and you can't expect them to change. And here's the other thing. The only other countries that will be willing to sell themselves out are not really of value. You might be able to go to Africa, and in Africa, you might be able to change some of these countries into selling themselves out into, whatever, and getting them to sell themselves out, their country, their people. But it's never going to happen with any country of any relevance. You're not going to go to the UK, and the UK is not going to completely just sell itself out. It's not going to happen. Even when you look at, unfortunately, Australia, a lot of times people joke around that China owns Australia. Even in that way, Australia hasn't completely sold itself out to China. It just hasn't. And that's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Because even as important as trade between like China and Australia is, they're not going to sell themselves out completely. It's just not going to happen. Let me read a few comments here just real quick. I'm about 17 minutes in. Probably going to only stream for maybe 45 minutes. Probably not going to go much longer. Let's see. So Froggy, oh my gosh, the cat wants out. Froggy says, yeah, China will never stick to its commitments anyhow, or shake your hand and stab you on the back at the same time. Right. And that's the thing is China has a habit of never sticking to its commitments, to saying that it's going to do something and then not doing it. That's the major problem. It always says it's going to do something. There's going to be a change. Something's going to happen. And then it never happens. Never changes. China's going to do this. China's going to do that. Let's see. JD says it's not possible that a peaceful resolution of the Taiwan issue. That is true. The Taiwan issue is such a big deal. It really is. China is not going to give up on Taiwan. And Taiwan is not going to give itself up to China. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. There's too much independence there. You have a military set in place. You have a government that doesn't want to be taken. You have people that don't want to be taken. Why would Taiwan ever give itself up? You know what I mean? It's just not going to happen. And until Xi Jinping, who is a madman, deranged, crazy king at this point, he thinks he can just take Taiwan, of course. Until he gives it up, there is no chance between the West or the U.S. and China of being friends. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And the simple fact that China even considers it and talks about it, even the way that China talks about taking Taiwan will never settle with the West. It will never settle with the U.S., with the United States. It will never be allowed. My gosh, my cat is driving me crazy. Let's see. YGZ says, word up. Sorry I couldn't stream you today. Just saw your message. No, it's okay, man. I wasn't sure if I was going to even stream today. So, yeah. Yeah, if financial institutions aren't willing to move manufacturing out of China, not much will change, says 4C's One Family. That is true. Here's the thing is talking about wanting to be closer friends with China. That's the funny thing. When private institutions are going in the other direction, is the other. Hang on one second. My gosh, the cat. The cat, so distracted. He won't come here. He just meows. He just stares at me and meows, but he won't come on camera. Yeah, no, the private companies are moving out of China. They're moving into other countries and saying, "Hey, we no longer want to be a part of China." And yet, for some reason, they believe that China wants to be friends with America and America wants to be friends with China, reverse, right? It's just it's not the way that the private sector is moving. The private sector doesn't want to do that. They're not going to do that. It's not going to happen, you know. Definitely not going to happen. If companies can't even begin to find solid ground, politicians are not going to find solid ground to be friends on. It's just not going to happen. Let's see. Yes, the cat wants to be heard. China is more like a dictatorship than a communist, that's for sure. It definitely is. At this point, we have had major issues with that, of just Xi Jinping becoming a king now. Hang on. Okay. Yeah, just imagine we had some hold music playing there while I threw the cat outside. But no, it's just not going to happen. You have, and it's really not even like dictatorship is like even a soft word for what's going on right now. Um, I think it's going to be more extreme. It's only going to get worse. Only going to get worse. And the talks of Joe Biden will seek to establish U.S. China red lines in Xi Jinping talks. There is no talk. There's no talk. It's just not going to happen. I don't understand why the media is even trying to act like it's going to happen. It's not going to happen. Anyone that lives in Taiwan can tell you that Taiwanese people do not want to be owned and controlled by mainland China. It's just the way that it is. They just don't want that. So, but I think I'm probably going to go ahead and end the stream a little early today. Maybe I'll do another stream tomorrow night or something. There's just so many things going on right now. But I do appreciate you guys coming and short stream, having a good time. I do appreciate it though. I'll probably edit this video maybe a little bit, cut out some of the stuff and put it up live or for the channel. New videos coming soon, and fire trucks coming soon, apparently. And also over on the Patreon page, I'm going to be putting, I have probably 10 or 15 videos of car conversations that I'm going to be putting over there for people to have access to those. I feel like a complete loser, complete dick for not putting anything on the Patreon page for so long. So I will give people a reason to want to, a reason to at least go on to Patreon. So, and that way people have some videos to watch over there. So yeah, I'll have some videos up over on the Patreon page. I do have a video that's being edited right now to go on the Prime in China page. So I'm going to work on that, edit that, get that out, and hopefully some good content coming soon. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a good day.